What's up, everybody? Phil Nagy on Sports, joined by Kip, trying something new, hitting it up with our post-game analysis, still fresh in our mind. 6-3, food tastes better, the grass was greener, my post-game beverage tasted tastier.
That's right. 6-3 feels pretty good.
It was an ugly win at times, but we got it done.
That's right.
So yeah, well, we'll see if anybody hops on and wants to ask us questions, but let's unpack our keys to the game. You still got them there in front of you?
Yep, I got them right here.
So let's talk about the offense. What did we do or didn't do in this one?
So the keys that we talked about for offense, just to remind you, we're talking about the solid performance from guys back from injury. I think we saw that. Nick Chubb played really well. He was a little bit slower to start, but you kind of expect that with a guy coming off injury like that. Kind of got to get back into that game speed. In fact, you and I talked about that in the middle of the game. Getting those guys back to the game speed, really, you could sense that it just wasn't quite hitting the holes quite as fast. But by the fourth quarter, it was really clicking, and you could see him. And Teller, same way. Hooper made some really clutch catches to get first downs, as he likes to do. So we saw really good performances from those guys. So I think we definitely hit that one. The next key being exploiting the weak run defense. I think we definitely did that. 231 yards. I'd say that's exploiting a weak run defense. Mm-hmm. When you have two running backs over 100 yards, that's a good day. That's a really good day.
Very good day indeed. I agree for sure.
Yep. And then the last one being the game plan to mitigate the elements. We ran the ball a lot. I mean, 19 carries per running back. 19 each. So we definitely hit that one. Yes, when we needed to throw, we were able to do that in some key situations. Early Landry getting us going. There's a couple pieces here and there that we needed from the pass game. A couple clutch catches from Higgins, and that sideline catch with getting his feet in and controlling the ball before he went out. That was pretty awesome. So we had some definite game plan. I think it went more the way we wanted to see it go, and then really relying on that running game, especially because first half you exited the first half thinking, well, are they going to go away from the run? That's a little bit dangerous, especially because it wasn't that they weren't producing; it just wasn't quite as effective as you really wanted it to be. I think in the first half, Chubb was only averaging like 3.3 yards a carry.
Right.
But ended up with like over 6. So that's especially with that last run that we saw there. So
absolutely. No, it was good to see a couple of like nice spark catches. It looked like from Higgins really kind of gets them going. That Baker Hollywood connection is definitely real. They definitely have real chemistry and they kind of get each other going.
Oh yeah.
Which is good. Because he had a couple of really nice catches there when Baker was looking for him. So what about defensively? I mean, for a defense, we're used to giving up 30 points. You'll take 7 all day, every day.
Absolutely.
What did we do well today?
So again, we really stuck to the keys that we talked about. So first one being gap discipline. We saw that all day. Them only rushing for 90 yards in the entire game, not even breaking 100. That's a good day. That's a good day at the office for our defense there on the rush defense, knowing it's coming. I mean, we know they're going to rush. So especially with the conditions that you had, I mean, we saw there were a lot of incompletions on both sides that I think were wind aided incompletions on this one where the ball just carried. They went a little bit higher, a little bit long, and it was tough. I mean, it was howling out there. So seeing that gap discipline, and that really led into that second piece was we had to not only have the gap discipline, but then kind of back to the fundamentals of tackling, and we had good tackling today. There was only a couple of instances that I saw where the tackles weren't quite as sound as we wanted, but for the most part, the tackling looked pretty solid. And then the last piece was the finishing on third and fourth downs. Well, we were 50% on third down, which, if you look at the overall stat, isn't great, but when it was third and long, for the most part, we managed to stop them. A couple of the third and some of the third and shorter ones where ideally we would have stopped them earlier in the reduced their gains earlier in the drive would help us in the third down situation. It's hard to stop teams for 1 or 2 yards. But I think the one that really kind of highlights this one was that fourth down stop right on the end zone of the 4-yard line or whatever it was.
Huge.
Myles Garrett comes in and just makes a really nasty TFL for Watson looked like he saw something and Myles said, not today, and just closed it down.
Yeah, that was awesome. Myles played a great game for folks who still don't believe that he is a game changer.
Absolutely.
I disagree. Of course, he's complaining about getting half sacks at the end. I think he was teasing
Yeah.
Richardson.
Yeah, I think that came out of that Mike's earlier where earlier in the season where Sheldon was trying to claim half of a sack from something where he like just got a hand on a guy kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
So
and then overall our keys, we were able to stick with them and we got the W. Let's break those down for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with time of possession, we had almost 7 more minutes than they did time of possession, and that really showed. I mean, that was they had a really consistent early drive early in the game for like 6 or 7 minutes, and I was a little bit worried at that point how the time of possession was going to work out, but we really, later into the game started taking control of that and ended up on top there, and that really showed how we ended up finishing the game, because with that time of possession being so far in our favor, we were really able to squeeze and play bully ball, and it didn't really matter what the score was there at the end so long as we were ahead. So
for sure.
And then exerting our will. I think that was definitely the case. That kind of smash mouth football, 231 yards. Doing what we want, especially in the fourth quarter, we really saw it where, they could not stop Hunt and Chubb. The two of them were just busting out big yardage, consistently. There weren't very many carries that were less than 5 yards in the fourth quarter because they couldn't stop them anymore. They were too tired. Because it's tough. It's tough to stop, one running back at that level, let alone 2 of them. And when you're consistently running the ball, you have 19 carries apiece. That's going to be hard to stop, especially when you're not the best defense stopping the run anyway. And then be the better team. I think that was, scoreline shows that we were the better team here. We executed well when we needed to, and we got out with the W. That's all that really mattered there.
For sure. No, I'm right there with you. Talk about balance, 19 and 19 for both those guys. Smash and dash, as we call them. Fire and ice, as they call themselves, since we refuse to use the word chunt in any of our social streams.
That's right.
That was great. And it's just, I can't even imagine being a defense. You're like, gosh, we just worked our butt off to tackle that guy. And then a fresh other guy comes in. And again, I people on social media and different things saying, oh, I think Hunt plays better when Chubb is in. And I think it was like, I think they both play better when Teller is in.
I think that's absolutely true. Absolutely. We saw some of that. We were talking about that earlier in the game. Teller on one of those pulls is blocking 2 guys for a really nice rush. Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that was
he did good play in this one.
12, 13-yard Hunt run when they were backed up on their goal and they were in that little trap, and Teller knocked a guy out of the hole. I think the linebacker and then the safety right after. That was pretty awesome. So
yeah, that was great.
Welcome back, top 3 player in the league. We're
glad
to have you. Now we got to get Andrew Berry to call your agent and lock you down for a nice.
So I think that after this performance this season so far, I think that's pretty well in the bag. I doubt he's going anywhere.
For sure. Well, and again, a weakness that we've perceived before the season is if we could just get through the season, then we'll could draft ourselves a nice right guard. I don't think we're going to have to draft ourselves a nice right guard, which is good because we have plenty of holes to fill on defense.
That's right. Depth only
in the draft. That's right. We'll take another guard. I mean, we can get Forbes back. That'll be your guard depth next year.
Yep. So we can talk.
Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say we could talk some of the things that we were asked about as well. We already kind of alluded to one of them on the 3 questions that we had for kind of our over/under section.
Yeah.
So the one was the split of the carries, and I called for a 20-15. Not quite that. It's pretty close to it, but not quite. It was 19-19 as it ended out. But hey, I'm pretty happy with that because it doesn't overexpose Nick. I don't think you don't really want him over 20 carries in this game, especially the first one back.
Yep.
And it really, Hunt was playing well. I mean, there was a time, I think it was in that last drive where they had Hunt in, and it was because he was performing, and not that Chubb wasn't, just that Hunt had it. Like you're just going with what was working. They pulled Hunt out. It was almost a role reversal right there, where Hunt almost felt like the starting running back, and Chubb was really in relief of Hunt when Hunt needed a blow there. So it was interesting to watch that dynamic. But I think that 1919 actually really worked out well for us.
Absolutely.
Second one that we talked about was the JJ Watt versus Miles. And I'm going to throw in an extra piece to this because although Miles only had the half sack, and yes, he had more than JJ Watt's none. Myles Garrett also had that TFL, which was just huge. I mean, it wasn't really a sack because it was obviously quarterback run, but that one TFL, and again, JJ Watt didn't have a TFL either. So one TFL and a half sack versus none. I think we pretty clearly, established which offensive line, because that's really a measure of the offensive line if we're being honest. Because if the offensive line plays like they do, like they did in this one, I mean, there was 1 sack in the whole game, and it wasn't really an offensive line issue on that one. It just wasn't a picked up blitz.
Sure. But I'll actually take you back. I don't remember the very, very first drive of the game. I can't remember if it was second or third down. Miles had a TFL on Duke right then as well. So
you're right. Yeah, that's right. So two
TFLs and a half.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. You're right.
He's actually tied for second on the team in total tackles, just behind BJ Goodson. So there you go.
Yeah, he played really well, and you have to appreciate him early in the game as well. I think that was like the first or second drive, him chasing down Watson to the sideline, because Watson is like 40 yards downfield if he doesn't make that tackle for a 1 yard gain. That hustle. Only Myles Garrett makes that. And we saw it a couple other times too. Other guys trying to chase Watson, and it just, compared to Myles, it was like Myles could do it, but like Sheldon Richardson wasn't getting there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and every time he left the pocket, we held our breath because we'd been shell shocked by the sim.
Yep. Yeah,
and then I think the last one was about Jarvis Landry, and he did not get into the end zone.
Sadly, no juice in no touchdown for Juice today.
And frankly,
we're cheering for it.
Yeah, he had a couple of impact blocks later in the game, but really after that huge catch in the shadow of their goal line that he then spiked and got. I know they pulled him off the field right after that play. I don't even think he had a catch or even a target the rest of the game, except for maybe that one where Baker was rolling to the right and he overthrew him.
Yeah, I think he had 2 targets.
Drill play, yeah,
I think he had 2. But he had a really nice catch that kind of got us going with that until the spike, which I do not like that call.
I don't either. Let him play.
I don't like that call. There was a couple other calls in this one that I was really not very happy with. This crew was pretty flag happy.
Yes,
they threw some pretty. And even some of the stuff that they called, that went our way, and I'll take it, but I was not particularly happy with some of those calls. There was only maybe 3, like, okay, that was a penalty. The one, who was it that I think it was Richard out on the sideline where he got like bowled over by the cornerback. Okay, that was a penalty. That was definitely pass interference. There was a couple of them. Yeah, I think each team had 6. And I would give maybe half of that were legitimate. Maybe 6 total, 3 each way.
Not the best crew for sure. And if you watch the Fox broadcast, not the best announcing crew either. They were pretty brutal.
No, names alone were killing me.
Stefanski, Jedrick Willis, Taki Tanky, it's like, oh my god.
Taki Tani, I think is what he actually said. Yeah, Taki Tani. How did you get Taki Tani out of there? There was another one in there that was. It was Sendejo. He said something for Sendejo that was just way wrong.
Yeah.
But
pretty brutal. But a win's a win. Here we are.
Sure.
Browns are 6-3. Got Philadelphia coming up, back to the NFC East. So maybe we'll get to lick some of our offensive wounds here, and maybe it just won't be 50-mile-an-hour winds and sideways precipitation. When we play that game, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Well, we don't have any comments. We have had a few people popping on and off of our live stream here. This is the first time we're trying this game review thing. And if you've liked this, please comment on the video and let us know. And we'll kind of start to add it into our repertoire of videos. But yeah, This was fun. Anything else from you, my friend?
Nope, that's all I got. I think we got to see some dirty football out there, but a win is a win, and real happy to be 6-3 right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the best feeling. 6-3 is, yeah, that's it. That's all. That's the only numbers that matter.
That's right.
Points, time of possession, yards, turnovers. At the end of the day, just have one more point than the other team on the scoreboard, and they did today. So that's going to do it for us. We appreciate it as always. Thank you to our subscribers and folks who continue to tune into our little silly project here that we do. And yeah, so without further ado, peace, love, Browns, and of course, go
Browns.